Hi, I want to welcome you. Yeah, I'm not the performer. I'm Sue McCallum, and I am the Village of Brooklyn representative to the Senior Center's Council on Aging. And our fundraisers help support these type of activities in the Senior Center. I just request that everybody have your cell phones off so they don't interrupt the performance. And I'd like to introduce Ian Gould, who is an Irish singer and storyteller. He's from Belfast. He does traditional Irish and Celtic songs, and he also does classic old Irish American ballads. And we want to welcome him back. He was last here in 2019.
We think so. Thanks very much. I just adjusted something before I started here. I'm going to have to readjust it. It sounds like I'm in a cave somewhere. It should be a little better, right? I don't sound as far away as I did before. Well, folks, it's nice to be here. It's nice to be back. I know some people are returning, and thank you for returning. You've done a lot for my ego this morning. So not to educate you or to think that I know more than you, but I thought it would be a good idea to sort of start, give you a bit of a rundown on where we are today. Obviously, we just came through St. Patrick's Day. I hope you all survived. Your livers aren't complaining after 2 or 3 days. The daffodils are trying to bloom. And again, thank God the snow is gone. The first year I came out here, it snowed in October. And it stayed until March. Yeah. And luckily there was a novelty factor involved, you know, I'm looking at, oh look, isn't it, it's snowing again, isn't it lovely? 1 year later, it's freaking snowing again. Once you bring the snow shoveling into the whole scenario, it's not quite as attractive. So Ireland is, the island of Ireland is split into 2 countries still. Northern Ireland, which has 6 counties to the northeast, and the Republic of Ireland, or the misnomer of Southern Ireland, has 26 counties, and I think if my mathematics is correct, that gives us 32 in all. I say a misnomer to call it Southern Ireland, because actually Donegal, which is actually part of Southern Ireland, goes further north than Northern Ireland. You know, and they wonder why the Irish can't agree on stuff. In the north of Ireland, you'd be using the British pound to spend and buy your Guinness. In the south of Ireland, or the Republic of Ireland, you'd be using the euro to buy the same stuff. Not only is Ireland split into 2 countries, it's split into 4 provinces. So to the north, we have Ulster. To the east, we have Leinster. So Ulster would have Belfast. Leinster, the main city, will be Dublin. Down in Munster, to the south, you have Cork, Kilkenny, all those. And then in Connaught, you would have Galway City, and counties like Mayo and Sligo and all that sort of stuff. But we're going to start our little musical sojourn today up in the north of Ireland in a county called County Down. You can see it here. Anybody in the house today called Colleen? There's no Irish Colleens, my goodness, the name must have been popular at a certain point and then went away. Well again, it's a normal, common Irish name, but Colleen, the word Colleen actually means a young woman or a little woman. Een, any sort of een that they add on to the end is like a diminutive. So again, we're going to start in the town of Banbridge, not too far from where I spent my misspent youth, along the banks of the River Bann. And it's a song about unrequited love. Back in that time, there wasn't much in the way of ethnic diversity in that part of the world. A young man spies this beautiful young lady with darker skin than his own, and he's enchanted and besotted with the exotic. This is called The Star of County Down. down in the county down one morning last July. Down a boring green came a sweet Colleen. She smiled as she passed me by. She looked so sweet from her two bare feet to the sheen of her nut brown hair. Such a coaxing elf, I had to shake myself to be sure I was really there. From Bantry Bay up to Derry Quay, cold rated Dublin town. There's no made a scene like the brown Colleen I met in the county down. As she homeward sped, well I shook my head, luck with a feeling rare. And I said, says I, to a passer-by, who's the maid with the nut brown hair? He smiled at me and McBride says he, she's a gem in her Ireland's crown. Twee Rosie McCann from the banks of the Ban, star of the county down. From Bantry Bay up to Derry Quay, cold winter Dublin town. There's no made a scene like the brown Colleen I met in the county down. I've travelled a bit, but I never was hit since my roving career began. But fair and square I surrendered there to the charms of young Rosie McCann. With a heart to let and no tenancy yet, had them met in a shawl or a gown. But in she went, and I charged no rent to the star of the county down. From Bantry Bay up to Derry Quay, cold winter Dublin town. Made a scene like the brown Colleen that I met in the county down. At the harvest fair, she'd be surely there, all dressed in the Sunday clothes. When the shoes shone bright down the hot cock right for a smile of a nut brown rose. No pipe I smoked, no horse I yoked, and why with rust turns brown. Tell a smiling bride at my own fireside, the star with the county down. From Bantry Bay up to Derry Quay, cold winter Dublin town. No made a scene like the brown Colleen that I met in the county down. From Bantry Bay up to Derry Quay, cold winter Dublin town. There's no made a scene like the brown Colleen that I met in the county down. Thank you. You saw people looking at the feet here. I was doing this gig in Waukesha, Wisconsin, and the only logical place to put me in the pub was right at the staircase. So, looking behind me there thinking, I don't think I'd have any drinks tonight. So we'll move on from County Down, we'll head our way west, out of Banbridge and over to Armagh. Armagh is where St Patrick established the first church in Ireland. We'll get back to that later. Armagh City has two big cathedrals there, one Catholic, one Protestant. It is Northern Ireland. But we're going to concern ourselves and take ourselves down to Keady Town, wee town down on the border. And tell you a story about a young fella heading out into the world, believing himself God's gift to women. A common mistake. Well, here I am from Paddy's land, the land of I'm and I'm broken the hearts of many a girl from miles round Keady town. When they hear that I'm away, they'll raise a hand of blue. They hear about the handsome lad they call O'Donoghue. I'm the boy to squeeze her, I'm the boy to tease her, I'm the boy to please her, and I'll tell you what I'll do. Quarter like an Irishman, my program of Blarney to my plan. Holligan, Rolligan, Zwalligan, Mulligan, bold O'Donoghue. Waste your love as a red rose growing on your garden wall, and made to be a dewdrop upon your broad wall. Perhaps that you may think of me as a rather heavy Jew. The more you take a notion to the bold O'Donoghue. I'm the boy to squeeze her, I'm the boy to tease her, I'm the boy to please her, and I'll tell you what I'll do. Quarter like an Irishman, my program of Blarney to my plan. Holligan, Rolligan, Swalligan, Mulligan, bold O'Donoghue. Yeah, the Queen Victoria has a daughter fine and grand. Perhaps she'd take it in her head to marry an Irishman. If I could only get a chance to have a word or two, I know she'd take a notion to the bold O'Donoghue. I'm the boy to squeeze her, I'm the boy to tease her, I'm the boy to please her, and I'll tell you what I'll do. Quarter like an Irishman, my program of Blarney to my plan. Holligan, Rolligan, Zwalligan, Mulligan, bold O'Donoghue. I'm the boy to squeeze her, I'm the boy to tease her, I'm the boy to please her, and I'll tell you what I'll do. Quarter like an Irishman, my program of Blarney to my plan. Holligan, Rolligan, Swalligan, Mulligan, Holligan, Rolligan, Swalligan, Mulligan, Holligan, Rolligan, Swalligan, Mulligan, bold O'Donoghue. Maybe I do need a drink after that. Now, moving on. Here he is, the man himself we've been celebrating for, it seems, almost all month. Mr. St. Patrick. I know we all regale ourselves in green around this time of the year and stuff, but the colour that would have been associated with St. Patrick going back is actually a regal blue. It was the tie-in with Ireland, where the green came through and sort of took over that. So I don't know if you know this, St. Patrick was not Irish. Did you know that? He was actually probably either Welsh or English. His father was quite wealthy, and as the Roman Empire fell apart, they would have been under Roman rule on that part. Roman never came into Ireland. They called it Hibernia, the land of eternal winter. I don't know. They obviously had never been there. And he, as a 16-year-old boy, he'd actually, his father was a deacon, again within the fledgling Catholic Church, and being a rebellious teen, Patrick wanted nothing to do with that, and he decided he wasn't going to do the religious thing at all. But he was kidnapped at 16 years old by some marauding Irish pirates, I guess, and they took him across to Ireland, and he spent 6 years as a slave, freezing, naked, working with sheep and pigs. And in that time, as many do, he found God and decided that maybe this was something he wanted to do. So he had a vision and a dream from God, and he was inspired to escape and actually made his way back home. And his father forgave him, almost the prodigal son scenario, and sent him off to France to study, to be a priest. He eventually got his act together and decided, after more visions from God, that he would go back to Ireland and Christianise the country. What else? What else do you not know about St. Patrick? Did you know that he lived until he was 122 years old?
Wow.
See, now there's the factual Patrick, and then there's the mythical Patrick, and they all overlap. Irish stuff's like that, you know. Lots of hyperbole. But anyway, what else? 122 years old. And why do we why that's the one I was trying to think of. Why do we celebrate on March 17th? It's not his birthday. It was actually the day he died. And it wasn't on March 17th that he died, but in the Middle Ages, two clerics in Rome couldn't decide if he died on the 9th of March or the 8th of March. And instead of choosing one where one would have to be wrong and the other one would have to be right, they just added them together. Once again, people in Ireland can't agree on anything. Yes, sir.
When did he live?
That would have been the mid 5th century, so the 400s. Yeah. So again, I blame the Italians. This is a wee church, just to answer your question even more solidly, sir. This is a wee church in Saul, just off Strangford Lough, up in the north of Ireland. So this was founded in 432. The word Saul, it's not the Saul like the character in the Bible. Saul would have actually been an Irish word for a shed. When St. Patrick came ashore, they housed him in this shed, and then obviously, you know, commemorized that, so much so that this wee church is still here. And he is actually buried, you know, a few miles from here in a town called Downpatrick. You'll notice the Celtic cross. So when Patrick came back to Ireland, he was still dealing with pagan societies, and they would have had their own symbology, they would have had their own religion, worshipping the sun and other, you know, natural deities. So instead of trying to take over, he decided he would come down. So he got the Christian cross, and he added the sun to the Christian cross, and this is why we have the Celtic cross here. Now, we'll cut back to the United States here, and I promised some traditional old Irish ballads. Irish-American ballads, should I say. This is my good friend here, Chauncey Olcott. You may not recognise him or recognise the name, but you'll certainly recognise some of the songs that he wrote and co-wrote through the years. He wrote for Tin Pan Alley, that whole New York music production thing, and for Broadway. He wrote songs like Mother Machree, When Irish Eyes Are Smiling, Turalura Lura, and of course, this wee song here, My Wild Irish Rose. It was written for a Broadway musical that came out, I think, in 1898. All the eights. 1898. For a Broadway, yeah. And I'm sure you know the words. One of those ones your grandmother and mother might have sang to you on a Wednesday night after a few whiskies. Don't be shy, folks. I'll expect you to sing along in the chorus. You're being recorded, so sing well. This is going on MTV tonight. If you listen, I'll sing you a sweet little song of a flower that's now drooped and dead, but fairer by far now than all of its mates, though each holds aloft its brightest. It was given to me by a girl that I know. Since we've met, Faith, I've known no repose. She's fairer by far than the night's brightest star, and I call her my wild Irish rose. My wild Irish rose, the sweetest flower that grows. You can search everywhere, but none can compare to my wild Irish rose. My wild Irish rose, the dearest flower that grows. And someday for my sake, she might let me take the bloom from her wild Irish rose. they speak of the roses that by other names would smell just as sweetly, they say. But I know that my Rose, she would never consent for her name to be changed in that way. Her glances are shy whene'er I pass by to the bower where our true love grows. And my wish it has been that someday I may win the bloom from her wild Irish rose. Sing it with me. A wild Irish rose, the sweetest flower that grows. You can search everywhere, but none can compare to my wild Irish rose. My wild Irish rose, the dearest flower that grows. And someday for my sake, she might let me take the bloom from her wild Irish rose. And someday for my sake, she might let me take the bloom from her wild Irish rose. Thank you. Ever since I started playing fingerstyle guitar, I really think I'm more in tune with the ladies. It's not what you think. It's not what you think. I just now understand how frustrating it is to break a nail. It's terrible, guys. Yeah, don't start. It's like playing with somebody else's hands up here. It's amazing. Very psychedelic. So, an old hoolie. So just to take us back as well, the first St. Patrick's Day parade was not even in Ireland. The first St. Patrick's Day parade was in St. Augustine in Florida in 1601. And it all, like everything else, bounces back and forth across the Atlantic. But when we think about a good old Irish holiday, a good old shindig, we call it a hoolie. An hoolie. And a hoolie, the word is actually derived from a word for a strong wind or for a gale force wind. And we're not sure if that's because of all the spinning and dancing at the party or how the house looks the next morning. Like a hurricane came through. Certainly my house. But I'm going to do a wee song here. I don't even know the real name for it, so we'll just call it the Hoolie song. Hannigan was an Irishman, came from Ireland's Isle. He was a rogue, he had a brogue, you'd hear for half a mile. When Hannigan throws a hoolie, sure the wording gets about. You may be a stranger if you're passing by, he'll shout if you're Irish. Come into the parlour, there's a welcome there for you. If your name is Timothy or Pat, as long as you come from Ireland, there's a welcome on the mat. If you come from the mountains of Mourne, Killarney's lake so blue. I sing a song and make a fuss, so if you are, you're one of us, you're Irish, this is the place for you. Come in the parlour and make yourself at home. Come into the parlour now, you won't be on your own. For there's Mickey McGee, there's Rafferty, there's Murphy and Muldoon. They say McGilligan's daughter doesn't know the taste of water. There's Guinness stout that's sticking out, there's grub for half the town. Plenty of good old potching if you wanna wash it down. And if you're Irish, be sure of a welcome. There's Hooligan on at Hannigan's house tonight. Hannigan, Brannigan, Mickey Malone, Bridget O'Rafferty, Mrs. McKeown, Ballymaquilty band will play a jig with all its might. Grady meat so grady, there'll be eruptions or a fight. Take it from me, there's a hell of a spree. Hannigan's house tonight. If you're Irish, come into the parlour. There's a welcome there for you. If your name is Timothy or Pat, as long as you come from Ireland, there's a welcome on the mat. If you come from the mountains of Moher, Killarney's lake so blue, singing a song and make a fuss. So if you are, you're one of us. If you're Irish, this the place for you. We're singing a song and make a fuss. So if you are, you're one of us. If you're Irish, this the place for you. Look, no hands. Boys and their toys, boys and their toys. So, we will head back across the Atlantic. I was just home in January. I was out with my cousin William. He's got a new fancy BMW car. He works hard. So he thought he'd take me for a spin, and we went up the North Antrim coast. I just wanted to point out just how close Scotland is certainly to the north of Ireland. We were up in a wee town, just went through a wee town called Waterfoot, which would have been a little holiday resort, mostly for Catholics, would you believe? The Protestants went to Newcastle, the Catholics went to Waterfoot. Interesting. And you can literally, you can almost throw a stone and hit Scotland. It's that close over there. You can see the kilts blowing in the wind. Hear the haunting bagpipes at night and all that. Not really. But again, just to show you, it's very close. Beautiful to see as well, just the colours, you can almost see the heather. But if you're going up to the North Antrim coast, we found the Giant's Causeway, which is one of the natural wonders of the world, conjuring up images and stories of fighting giants. Finn McCool, or Finn Gall as they call him sometimes, would have been the Irish giant, and he had this beef with Benin Doran, who was the Scottish giant, and they built this causeway so they could fight. And then one of them got scared and wrecked the whole thing. But this is in Ireland, and this is in Scotland, and you can see it's the same formation. So if you don't believe in the giant story, it goes back millions and millions of years when there was a volcanic eruption. caused all this stuff. But it does literally goes under the water the whole way from Ireland to Scotland. But I'm going to take you to Scotland. This is Perthshire. This is where I went as a kid, well, as a young man, I suppose, to study music. Back in the time of the Roman Empire, the Romans never conquered Scotland. I told you they never went to Ireland. They also got to the north of England and they built a wall across the top to keep the Scottish out. And if you'd met some of my Scottish friends, you'd totally understand the sentiment. They refer to the land north of the wall as Caledonia. And again, a lot of Scottish still affectionately refer to their homeland as that. And you can see this is a little homesick song written by a fella called Dougie MacLean from Perthshire. You can understand why they would be homesick, look at it. But again, this isn't winter. That can change everything. Some odd reason my harmonicas still taste like Guinness. Which is odd because I don't touch this stuff. Who to believe? Who do you believe? So this song is called Caledonia. I don't know if you can see the changes that have come over me in these last few days. I've been afraid I might slip away. I've been telling old stories, singing songs that make me think about where I come from, and that's the reason that I sing so far away today. Let me tell you that I love you, I think about you all the time. Caledonia, you're calling me, I'm going home. If I should become a stranger, you know that it would make me more than sad. Caledonia, you're everything I've ever had. I've moved and I've kept on moving, proved the points that I needed proving. I've lost the friends that I needed losing, found others on the way. I have kissed the ladies and left some crying, stolen dreams, yeah, there's no denying. I have travelled hard, sometimes with conscience lying, somewhere with the wind. Let me tell you that I love you, I think about you all the time. Caledonia, you're calling me, I'm going home. If I should become a stranger, you know that it would make me more than sad. Caledonia, you're everything I've ever had. Now I'm sitting here beside the fire, empty room in the farmer's choir, and the flames of once couldn't get no higher have withered now and gone. But I'm steady thinking, my way is clear. I know what I will do tomorrow when our hands have shaken and kisses slow. I'll disappear. Let me tell you that I love you, I think about you all the time. Caledonia, you're calling me, I'm going home. If I should become a stranger, you know that it would make me more than sad. Caledonia, you're everything I've ever had. And my land is everything I've ever had. my little nod of the hat there to Bonnie Scotland. They're a great bunch, great race up there. It's interesting. On our way back to Ireland, we're going to come this way. I'd just like to do a little stop off. Again, not to educate you by any means, but maybe just to remind you. This is another little place here. This has been a bit of a hot topic in my house at the moment. We've been doing our DNA testing and all our ancestry and stuff. Turns out I'm Irish. But my wife has always believed that she is German and Swiss, but has her DNA filtered back through. She actually has DNA from the Isle of Man, which is this little Celtic nation, equidistant between Ireland, Scotland and Wales. It actually is its own country, even though it's under the whole United Kingdom banner. It has the oldest running parliament in the world. Just as you probably never even heard of it, the Isle of Man. The Isle of Man, the people from there are the Manx race, M-A-N-X. This is where this is their flag, and it's where the Manx cat comes from. Do you know of that, right? The cat with no tail? Yeah? One of these little fellas would cost you about $800, and it's not even a whole cat. Right? Right? Lovely little creatures. But you obviously know the story back in the Old Testament of the Bible when Noah was gathering all the animals onto the ark. Of course, the cats were last, and they were running slow and weren't just. And as they got on, the door closed and cut their tails off. And that's why the Manx cats have no tails. That's true. It's true. So yeah, there's more Celtic nations than you might imagine. We have, oh here, look. We have Ireland, Scotland, the ones you would know, Wales, of course, Isle of Man, Cornwall, which is down at the very toe of England, is a Celtic nation, would have spoke the lingo back in the day. Brittany, in the northwest of France, also. And then Galicia is like the red-headed stepchild of the whole scenario. Galicia had the culture, but not the language. So these all would have spoken some sort of Gaelic language, Celtic, while Galicia didn't. Here's their flags. So again, you've got the Isle of Man, Scotland, Wales, Cornwall, Ireland, and Brittany. They didn't even add Galicia to this flag. But we're going to move on, and we're going to take you to one of my favourite places, the city of Dublin. I used to think I knew Dublin, and then they cut me loose one day, and I really didn't know where I was at all. I'd been to the same places over and over and over, but never really pieced them all together. Dublin was founded by the Vikings in the mid-9th century. The original settlement would have been called Dublin. For any Scandinavian speakers out there, I apologise. Dublin would have meant Black Pool, and the Black Pool would have been part of the River Liffey, which runs through the city. And we're going to concern ourselves and tell you a little story about a young woman called Molly Malone. I'm sure you've heard of her in the past. Molly Malone was reportedly a young lady who lived back in the day, and she sold seafood from a wheelbarrow up and down the streets of Dublin. But rumour has it she was selling much more than that. So much so that they refer to the statue as the tart with the cart. They moved her. It really confused me. I arrived in Dublin one day, walked down to the bottom of Grafton Street, and she was gone. Flipping heck. It's just, did she walk off? But they moved her over a couple of blocks. I don't know why. But you can see, for luck, people rub certain parts of her anatomy. Some parts of her body are more shiny than others. I'm talking about her nose. So I'm saying there's a lot of lucky people bouncing around Dublin. So again, if you can help me out and sing along in the chorus, it's been a long few weeks, as I'm sure you can imagine. So here's your words. Alive, alive, oh, alive, alive, oh, cockles and mussels, alive, alive, oh. Memorise it, we're going back to Molly. In Dublin's fair city, well, the girls are so pretty, I first set my eyes on sweet Molly Malone. She wheeled her wheelbarrow through the streets broad and narrow, cockles and mussels, alive, alive, oh. Sing it. Alive, alive, oh. Alive, alive, oh. Cockles and mussels, alive, alive, oh. She was a fishmonger, sure it was no wonder. So were her father and mother before. They both wheeled their barrows through the streets broad and narrow, cockles and mussels, alive, alive, oh. Alive, alive, oh. Alive, alive, oh. But she died from a fever, no one could save her. That was the end of sweet Molly Malone. Now her ghost wheels a barrow through the streets broad and narrow, grand cockles and mussels, alive, alive, oh. Alive, alive, oh. Alive, alive, oh. Cockles and mussels, alive, alive, oh. Alive, oh. Alive, alive, oh. Cockles and mussels, alive, alive, oh. Beautiful. Thank you. So we'll leave behind the hustle and the bustle of Dublin City for another day, and we will head west out across the country. Ireland's about 170 miles across, about 320 odd just at the... So again, it's probably comparable to the size of the state of Indiana, but you'd rather go to Ireland, I'm sure. As we leave Dublin, if we look to the south, we see the Wicklow Mountains, and that's where Guinness gets its lovely water to make the... I'm salivating thinking about it, and the lovely Guinness that they have. Further on to the south again, we pass County Offaly, and that's a town called Tullamore, is where they distill the Tullamore Dew whiskey. You see a theme here? There's a theme to it. And on we go, we'll head on further, and eventually we get to the Shannon River. The Shannon is the biggest river in Ireland, and it separates, remember I was telling you about the 4 provinces? The Shannon River separates Leinster to the east from Connaught to the west. And we'll keep going all the way across until we get to the Atlantic Ocean. Next stop after that is probably New York. We'll stop in Galway. Not lovely?
Can you back that up? I wasn't done with Molly yet.
I've got some photos I'll send you later.
You wanted to look at her sweet nose again.
Tough crowd, tough crowd. So that's what I was going to tell you as well. So this lovely lady in here was telling me that the last time I was explaining to people about the whole idea of corned beef and cabbage. So when I first arrived in the States, I wasn't living here yet. I was visiting my now wife, And her mother and father thought they would treat me and make me feel welcome, so they made me a nice big dish of corned beef and cabbage, and that was the first time I'd ever had it. It's not the national dish you think it is. It's delicious though. I'm in. I'm a convert. This wee song is going to take us to County Galway, a wee town called Ballybrit, not too far from Galway City. They have horse racing every summer. People come from all over the country to race their horses and to gamble. And if you're in the market for a new wife or a husband, there's a lot of matchmaking goes on at this festival as well. Another level of gambling altogether. They dress to impress. It's the whole idea with the big hats and stuff, but I don't think they're guzzling down their mint juleps. I think they'll be on the pints of Guinness. It is delicious in that part of the world. It's a different drink. Anyway, again, I'm salivating at this. I'm going to do a wee song about the Galway races. I'm going to employ this little Irish drum for you. It's called the boron. It's easy to remember because it rhymes with moron. Here's the recipe to make a boron. So you have the wood-framed drum with a goat skin head. The drum is called the drum, or again the boron, and then the little stick is called the tipper. So again, the goat skin is one thing they've been making. I think in Australia they actually went one step further and were making them out of kangaroo. Gives the music way more bounce. You hear that right there? Yeah? Should I turn it up? For me whack, for me two, for me diddly idle day. As I went out through Galway town to seek for recreation, the 17th of August, me mind being elevated, multitudes assembled. Tickets at the station, their eyes are all aglow, for they're going to see the races. For me whack, for me two, for me diddly idle day. There were passengers from Limerick and some from Tipperary, the boys at Connemara, Clara married ladies, people from Cork City who were loyal, true and faithful, brought home the Fenian soldiers from down in foreign nations. For me whack, for me two, for me diddly idle day. And it's there you see gamblers with thimbles and the garters, spinning wheel fortune the 4 and 20 quarters. Others without scruples pelting wattles at poor Maggie, her daddy well contented to be gawking at his daughter. For me whack, for me two, for me diddly idle day. And it's there you see confectioners, sugar sticks and dainties, the oranges, the lozenges, the lemonade and raisins, gingerbread and spices to accommodate the ladies, a baker bean for threepence to be sucking while you're waiting. For me whack, for me two, for me diddly idle day. Oh, and it's there you see the jockeys all mounted up so stately, the pink, the blue, the orange, the green, the came from Buffer Nation. Certain bell was ringing, all the horses seemed impatient, for they never touched the ground, her speed was so amazing. For me whack, for me two, for me diddly idle day. And there were 500,000 people there of all denominations, the Catholic, the Protestant, the Jew and the Presbyterian, getting on animosity no matter what persuasion, watching hospitality and juice and fresh acquainted. For me whack, for me two, for me diddly idle day. For me whack, for me two, for me diddly idle day. Thank you. So this is one of these, well firstly we'll stay in Galway for another song, but this is one of these wonderful cross-Atlantic songs written by an American guy but set firmly in Ireland. This is actually probably the most overplayed song in Irish music today, but that won't stop me. Actually, it's probably familiar and it is a bit of a favourite for the ladies. It was featured in a movie going back called P.S. I Love You, starring Gerard Butler. It was Hilary Swank and Gerard Butler. It was all set, I think, in and around Galway, if I'm not mistaken. I think the story goes, boy meets girl, Gerard Butler strips down to his boxer shorts, the end. For some people that's enough. Again, my biggest complaint was they couldn't even get a good-looking Irish actor to play the good-looking Irish man in the movie. They got a Scotsman in to do it. I'm going to write a letter of complaint. Probably a bit late now. So this song, again, takes us to Galway. Here we are, beautiful Galway city, on a nice, soft day. It does rain quite a bit. The good news is, if it rains, you just go into the pub. There's lots of amazing, amazing pubs up and down the street. This is the Galway shield, I suppose. And look, see how much it's been raining? You got the fiddle at the bottom. It's well known for its traditional Irish music. Here's the Keys pub. When I take my tours home and we go through Galway, I do a little show in here. Amazing. The doorways are basically probably about the size of that wall, but you go in and the whole place just opens up and it's labyrinthine and there's upstairs and downstairs and all sorts. Beautiful place. And of course, there's lovely Galway girls. For my friend here, never mind Molly Malone here, this is for you.
I don't have to know if she does.
No, right? Not yet, not yet. So this is a song written by Steve Earle. You'll remember him from his fame of Copperhead Road back in the day, in the 80s. He wrote this wee song here. This song tells the story of a young American man who goes across the Galway, meets this beautiful black-haired, blue-eyed young lady, probably her, and falls head over heels in love. She, by her nature, takes full advantage of the situation, and when she's had her wicked way with him, she dumps him. Sounds good to me. Sign me up. Sign me up. It's called The Galway Girl. Took a stroll on the old long walk of a day. I met a little girl and we stopped to talk on a fine soft day. I ask your friends, what's a fella to do if her hair was black and her eyes were blue? I knew right then I'd be taking a whirl to to the Saltville prom with the Galway girl. We were halfway there when the rain came down on the day she asked me up to her flat downtown on a fine top day. I ask you now, tell me what would you do if her hair was black and her eyes were blue? I took her hand and I gave her a twirl, and I lost my heart to the Galway girl. But when I woke up, I was all alone, with a broken heart and a ticket home. So I ask you friends, tell me what would you do if her hair was black and her eyes were blue? I traveled around, I've been all over the world. Boys, I ain't never seen nothing like the Galway girl. Folks, thank you so much for listening today. My name is Gould. I hope you have a wonderful, wonderful lunch. I hope you had a wonderful St. Patrick's Day. And maybe we'll talk to these lovely people here, and I'll come back at some point during the year. I've got a wonderful program called The Music Before Me, where I'm doing songs from the various years from the mid-50s through till 71, till the year I was born. Lots of historical content. A lovely little program. Maybe you speak to the people and tell them, just invite them back. Folks, until then, again, look after yourselves and thank you very much for your time.